This is Kelly, and today I wanted to talk about the tenacity that it takes when you live off-grid. So, not everything is as easy as it is somewhere else. And especially if you choose to live off-grid in a very cold environment. Your water freezes overnight in some cases inside your cabin. Unless you get up every hour or two and fill your stove, depending on what kind you have. Mine's not very energy efficient, so I would have to get up almost every 45 minutes. So I just let the fire go out and start it again in the morning. So it can be challenging, especially living up high on a mountain. Everything is a little more difficult. You have a little bit less oxygen. To move, you get a little bit more out of breath. But I also find it breathtaking. So in my life, I've had a few people criticize me because they said that I was stubborn. Well, guess what? Stubbornness is a key to success. Because a stubborn person is also a driven person who is committed to their dreams. So for me, it took a little longer than I had hoped, and the weather got colder quicker than I had hoped. And so then I was here in negative 20-degree Fahrenheit weather in a cabin that isn't fully insulated and isn't dried in. Well, guess what? My tenacity gets me through. And for some people, they would give up, or they would just wait till spring and let everything in the cabin kind of fall apart in the meantime. And for me, that's not an option. I have a lot of money invested in my windows and doors, and a lot of time invested in everything else. Not to mention all the beds and things like that I now have inside. Things that would get ruined in the rain if it was raining inside my cabin like it was the other day. So I have a lot of tenacity and drive for what I do. But I love where I'm at. It's beautiful. There's not many places I'd rather be on earth than here doing this. It's time for me to head out and make some money soon. But I hopefully will be able to get everything wrapped up that I need to get done this week and move on. So, yeah, the word for the day for me is tenacity. So if someone calls you something bad, meaning it in a negative connotation, turn it around and think of it in a positive light. If I wasn't stubborn, I wouldn't be tenacious. And if I wasn't tenacious, I wouldn't have the drive to succeed like I do, to do the things that I choose to do. They take someone who is stubborn, who does have tenacity, who does have drive, determination, will to not give up and make things happen. So I also once had a colleague of mine who later quit say something negative about me behind my back. He didn't realize he was speaking to a dear friend of mine. He was a Michigan conservation officer, and he was speaking to a state trooper who was a dear friend. And I used to be a state trooper in Michigan. And he said, Kelly beats to the tune of her own drum. And my friend told me this because it upset him that somebody I worked with was talking negatively of me behind my back. And it really bothered me for a long time, and I thought about contacting that guy and kind of telling him off. And I just decided to kind of let it go for the most part. But I never fully forgot it. And so one day while I was swimming the Straits of Mackinac, I was the third person to ever do so and the first woman and the only person to do so without a wetsuit that I'm aware of at that time. I was swimming the Straits of Mackinac, And it's quite an amazing feat. It's 6.75 miles of turbulent, torrented water where Lake Michigan and Lake Huron come together. And I thought to myself, he's right. I do beat to the tune of my own drum. I don't see him out here swimming next to me at all. So, I took something that was said to me in a negative connotation and I made it into something positive that drove me. And I realized, yes, I do beat to the tune of my own drum. So, and that tune is unique and I'm proud of it and I love it. So, be proud of who you are. Learn from your mistakes. Pay attention to your strengths and your weaknesses. And often they're one and the same. One of my biggest strengths is my tenacity. And some people might see it as weakness because they think I'm stubborn. Another strength is that I have a huge heart for people. Well, that's also one of my biggest weaknesses because sometimes people take advantage of me and I trust too many people. So that's what I wanted to share today. Be yourself, be who you are, but be cognizant of it and make sure that everything in life is in balance.